live now, though. We were struggling with our device, so.
I had to go this way.
Sorry. Brandon figured it out, so.
Hey,
We are ready.
if you're here, drop a comment down so we kind of know who's here. You don't have to say your name or anything. Obviously, we'll see your username, but put something down in the chat so we can see who's here.
Tell us where you're from, how you found the channel. I'm going to be watching the chat over here, so if you see me looking off to the side, that's what's happening. If you have any questions, put that in the chat. But yeah, we want to know that you guys are here. It's always more fun. All right, NG Photo and Design is here. It's always more fun when we can interact with people. So when Brandon and I started the channel, we wanted to create memories for our own family, but we also wanted to meet other people, talk to other people who were interested in where we were going or had questions, what RVing is like. I mean, we discovered RVing thanks to YouTube and some of the other channels out there. So if you have any questions at all or anything that you want to share with us, let us know. We are going to do a live giveaway for that backup camera. I know you guys have seen that. Many of you have entered. Hello, Aaron. He's in Michigan right now. Thank you for joining us live. This is our first live, so we're excited. Do you have anything you want to add, babe, before we jump into the Q&A?
No. Yeah, just welcome who is here. NG Photo and Design, we know who that is. And then co-cornhole champion, Aaron.
If you've watched our Eclipse video, you've seen Aaron.
Living life out in Michigan. So say hi to Christine and Maya for us.
Yeah, so Brandon sometimes has to edit me a lot because, there's Christine. Hi, Christine. Because I have a tendency, all of my words come out in one thought. So he has to edit me quite a bit when we make these videos. So I told him live he won't be able to.
It's like when she starts, she has thoughts that come through while she's talking at the same time. And so it's like, I'm talking. Oh yeah, and then here the thought starts coming in, so I've got to figure out how to tie it in, and then just keep talking. So it makes editing a lot of fun. Me, I'm very like, I'm in this box right here. Okay, I'm done with that box. Now I can move to this box. Maybe my brain just doesn't think as fast.
You're more comfortable being quiet. I don't like quiet, so that's why I keep talking. We're going to answer a few questions. If anybody watching has questions, let us know before we jump into the giveaway. But really the big thing that we hear from people who RV and people who don't is, why did you decide to do this? I mean, we are not anywhere close to retirement age. We still have 2 kids in the house and a big dog. We own a home. We're live streaming to you from our basement right now. And so why would we even consider hitting the road for a year or more, any long-term thing like we did? So why did that come about, babe? Anybody that's new to the channel may not know this yet.
Yeah, so, I mean, when we first moved to Colorado, we started to sort of look at all of the outdoorsy adventure type things that people were doing, and started to kind of think about what we wanted to do. I'd grown up sort of tent camping. We did a little bit of that. So we'd go to a lake in Kansas. And if you know anything about the lakes in Kansas, I mean, there's some good ones out there, but they're, they are what they are. So anyways, we would do that in a tent. So that's what I was used to from a camping perspective. Sonny hadn't really camped really much at all. And so twice. Yeah. I mean, I can't count the number of times. It was more than twice, I know, for me. But yeah, Sonny had never really done it before. And so we wanted to sort of put our feet in a little bit before we started to really jump off into the deep end. So we actually started off with a 1974 StarCraft pop-up, which if you've ever stayed in a pop-up, those are basically tents on wheels. And I mean, we kind of fell in love with the nature part of it, the adventure part of it, something that was a little different. We could go anywhere with it really and still have some sort of shelter, but we knew that wasn't quite enough. So we went from that and went up to a travel trailer, 36-foot long travel trailer. Did that for a little bit. And then I started talking to Sonny as we both went remote and said, hey, we don't really have to stay here. We have a camper to go out with. Let's go out with that. Let's do something with it, and just kind of explore the country. And so I was like, let's just go. And she's like, maybe let's try a year first. So we planned out the year about 6 months before we left. Yeah. And
Well, and what Brandon's not mentioning here, we've homeschooled our kids since 2012. I've worked remotely since 2017 and him since 2021. So we were already
Yep.
set up. A lot of people want to do this, but they're not already set up. So I would say those are the big things. If you have kids, you have to figure out how to homeschool them. But it is a lot easier now than it used to be. And if you are still working like we are, either figure out how to retire, which we are not there yet, or figure out how you can take your job on the road.
Yeah.
Like Brandon said, in our case, we already had the RV, so there really was nothing holding us back. And I would suggest try it and see if you like it. Hi, we've got lots of people joining in. Oh, Sicily, like Sicily, Italy. That might be the farthest away anyone is watching. Thank you so much. Baby number one. I love Wilson Lake. So Wilson Lake is a Kansas lake that we tried to go to. Apparently we camped on the wrong side of it. It was not what we were hoping for. Wow. All right. Well, thank you for joining us from Italy. We're excited to have someone that far away. And then Aaron saying, we all said, let's do a year, and it's been 3. Yes, so we do, when we meet other RVers, a lot of them say that, like, oh, it was going to be 6 months, it was going to be, a year.
And going on a decade.
Yeah, and now, and then they're like, oh, we've been doing it a decade. So yes, Aaron, definitely an inspiration. We're so excited to have you guys here, but that's how we got started. It was very much an accidental, we were already set up and decided to try it. What was our favorite place we went that we did? For those of you new to the channel, we did the entire American West. So about 14.
We did 14 states.
So how many miles? Do you remember?
Well, we don't have an official tracker. I'm guessing it. Well, I mean, I can tell you from point to point how much we did, but then there was all the in-between travel. We had, we were at Napa at one point, and we ended up going to San Francisco. Where else did we go from there? We went to a couple other places from there, just in that spot. So we put on thousands of miles just there in that one location. So if I was to guess, total, we probably did close to 30,000 miles.
So 30,000 miles in a year.
Yeah.
What was your favorite?
Well, my favorite from a scenery perspective was Grand Tetons. We were there a little bit early, so there was a lot of snow. We couldn't access a lot of the locations, but the epicness of the Grand Tetons is just amazing. It reminded me of sort of the Alaskan sort of walls that you're driving down the highways in Alaska. If you don't know, if you haven't been there, but if you're driving through Alaska, there's a lot of walled sections because the mountains are just so sheer. Grand Tetons are very much like that, with some very stark peaks, and they just look like jagged knives sticking up out of the earth. I loved Grand Tetons. What was your favorite?
Grand Teton was beautiful. My favorite though was probably Idaho, just because I wasn't expecting anything, and it turned out to be beautiful. We stayed in several areas of Idaho, but I loved Coeur d'Alene. I also really liked Tucson, Arizona in the winter, which I don't think is thought of as a major travel destination necessarily, but it was easy to get around and the weather was fantastic. We went a lot of beautiful places. By the time we left California, it's very crowded there. We were ready to be out of there. But we really did chase that 70 degrees, as you hear RVers say that a lot, but we really did chase the good weather. So just being up north in the summertime and then down south in the winter was great. San Antonio, I also loved the history. If you've watched any of our travel videos, I'm a total history nerd. I absolutely love it. So to go to the Alamo right after I taught our son about the Alamo, it was like goosebumps. So if you're really into history, traveling to the places you learn about is the best way to learn about them. So I have lots of favorites. What was your least favorite?
Well, I won't take yours. I know what yours is, so I'll leave that to you. Well, why don't I let you
No,
go? You go
I've
first.
changed it.
Oh, you've changed it.
So originally it was Montana. But if you've watched our video where I knocked my teeth out, really our last day in Cathedral City, California, I fell running with Reggie. He's our Aussie Doodle. You've probably seen him a lot on the channel. And I almost knocked out my front teeth. So the trauma involved in that, the last day we were there, I was ready to get out of there, and I was also very stressed because we were 5 months from home. Fortunately, I've had my teeth fixed since we've been back, which you may have noticed that in some videos too, that my smile has changed. But that was a big thing that I did not love. Being on the road when you have a medical crisis or a dental issue or anything like that is kind of a scary place to be, just because you don't know anybody. But we got it all resolved, and we're good now. So
Yeah.
what about you?
I would say, I mean, this one's kind of tough because it wasn't really one specific location. It was one specific state and the thing about it. And that was the roads in New Mexico.
We lost a lot of tires.
Oh, so much rubber. Yeah, we had 3 flat tires going through that state. One, I don't know, 20 minutes into the state. So that was tough. I didn't enjoy that, but other parts of the state were beautiful. But yeah, that really put a damper on things. One specific location was probably the spot in Missoula, Montana. Not the state of Montana. Sonny said Montana, but it was really Missoula was. And the thing is I've been there multiple times, and it's been beautiful every other time. But we were in a spot that was right off of a highway that was 70 miles per hour. So we had trucks and motorcycles and everything probably 20 feet from where we were sleeping. So that was really bad. And then at the time that we were there, the Canadian wildfires were really like crazy. I mean, it was 2023, May of 2023.
The sky was very overcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
the air quality was bad. But like Brandon said, he's been there other times and it's been beautiful.
Mhm.
So I think that's something too. I mean, that's nice about an RV is that I don't feel like I went to these places one time and I'm never going there again. If there's a place you loved, you can go back in a different season. Or if there's a place that really sucked because of one thing or another, you can always go back. So I think with the RV lifestyle, you feel less of that pressure that you do when you fly into somewhere and you only have 10 days and you don't know if you're ever going there again. So, and it's a lot less expensive to RV travel. And so you don't feel like you blew your whole vacation budget either, which I think is good. What is
Aaron
Aaron
said
saying?
it's hard to pick a best. So many nice places we've been able to see. I agree. Like,
Yes.
we had some top ones that made a short list. I would say, but I mean, we had that winery in Washington that was
Mhm.
beautiful. We had we had a couple of that California location that we missed out on, unfortunately, because we didn't have Starlink at the time. That was
Oh yeah, right
beautiful.
on the river, but we had no cell signal, no internet.
Yeah.
So
Yosemite, beautiful. The people, there was too many people, but besides that, it was breathtaking. So yeah, I agree. It's really hard to pick one place that is because, and here's the thing, we're going to go to a lot more. So it's hard to say, Grand Tetons we went to, that was the first national park we went to on the trip. And, it made my top list after
it made
a year.
his top list, but I actually have 2 other national parks, probably 3 actually, that I like even more. So yeah, it's totally an opinion thing. For those of you that are national park junkies, for me, it's Redwood. Loved it. It's like being in enchanted forest. We went to Moab a couple of years ago and did Arches. That is one of
That's
the
cool.
coolest places I've been.
It was so hot.
Even though my height fear made it very challenging to get to Delegate Arch, I'm glad I did that. That's the one on the Utah license plate, for those of you unfamiliar. And then White Sands in New Mexico, I also thought was gorgeous. And Aaron mentioned he's in Michigan right now. That's on my bucket list. There are so many places in Michigan I want to go, but because we're based out of the West, we just haven't made it there yet. So hopefully next summer we'll be able to go there. But we have a lot more trips planned of all the places we want to go. And anytime somebody travels, I'm like, ooh, where'd they go? Oh, we probably need to go there too. So to our friends watching from Italy, that's another place that our son especially wants to get to Italy, but all of us, again, we love history. So that is
Yep.
hopefully the next few years before our daughter graduates and moves out, we would like to do a big European trip and include Italy in that as well. We've already kind of touched on some challenges. I think the challenges feel bigger maybe when you're RVing because you're in a smaller space, and sometimes they're more like you have to deal with them right away.
Yeah.
Like the tires. What do you think?
Yeah, it's not it's more that they're compounded, right? So your one challenge affects everything that's coming up next, right? So you get a flat tire, you literally have to deal with it because you're on your way to the next location and you can't get there if you have a flat tire. You've got to get that repaired, whether it's with your spare or you have to get a new tire. So you have to figure those things out. If you have water leaking, you have to figure that out immediately. You can't just, I mean, you can just shut the water off, but you really have to figure out how to fix it, or you don't have water, right?
We had to move because we didn't have internet in a
Yep.
location because, again, we're working from the road. So, yeah, there are things like that. It's not quite like being on vacation all the time, which I think sometimes people think, ooh, we're getting recommendations here for Michigan. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Erin. Yeah, we will definitely have to add that to our list of places we want to go. But yeah, like Brandon said, when you're RVing, sometimes it's a little more immediate. You can't save that project for later like you can in a house. But the nice thing is the projects are smaller and usually easier to fix. Since
Yeah.
we've been back in our house, we have some projects and they're a little bigger, more daunting, and require more tools, more work, and
Time.
so more time. Yeah, and so we have been traveling a lot even since we got back to Colorado. We're very lucky to live in a state that people vacation to, and we have continued to vacation all summer. So those house projects, they do stack up. So yeah, I would definitely say the RV lifestyle has those ups and downs, but to be on the road all the time, you do gain a huge amount of freedom that a lot of people don't even realize they're missing out on when they're in one place.
Yeah.
So what advice would we give to someone considering it? I hear it a lot. I would love to do something we're doing. But then everybody always says, but I can't because of XYZ. So babe, what would you tell somebody who says, I would love to full-time travel. I would love to work remotely. I would love to go to fill in the blank.
I mean, you've already kind of crossed the biggest hurdle, and that's really just saying that you want to do it.
Identify
right?
your dreams.
Yeah,
What you wanna
like then you just have to figure out how to get there. A lot of people don't even know what they want to do overall, right? They're just like, well, I'm just going to go to work. I'm going to watch what my kids do. I'm going to go to bed and get up and do it all over again. That was not us. That's not what we
Don't
wanted
float
to
through
do.
life.
Yeah.
It's very easy to do that, but don't float through life. Figure out what you want to do with yourself.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say, it's hard to say just go do it because there's a lot of variables that play into that. If you're working, you got to figure out how to work around that. If you don't are now, if you're remote, you don't really have much of an excuse.
That was us.
Yeah, so I've seen a lot of people get really sucked up into all of their kids' things as well. Me personally, I look back on my childhood and childhood was fine. There wasn't any issues with that or anything like that. But looking back on it, if I had a choice, if my parents came up to me and said, "Hey, we're going to go either just stay here and do the same thing over and over and over again, or we're going to go travel the country," drop of a hat, I would have been like, "Let's go." Right? Let's go see things. Let's go do stuff. And that's easy for me to say now. So, I mean, my daughter, our daughter at her age, she's going through things at her, she wants to experience different things and has different ideas of what it is to be a teenager. But we're really hoping that when she looks back on this, that she says, wow, that was really a unique experience that I would have never thought of to want to do, but I'm glad I did it. I'm glad you guys had me do that. So, there's a lot of different questions that have to be answered for I want to full-time, but you just kind of have to figure out how to work around those buts, right?
And I think a big thing, so often people say, oh, when I retire, I'm going to do whatever. Well, what are you waiting for? I mean, that was kind of what it came down to us. And I think the pandemic was very illuminating that way. We may not live till we retire, or we might not be physically able to do the things we want to do when we retire. I mean, yes, I would love to be 100 years old and still climbing mountains and doing all the things, but the odds are not really good that way. But right now, I know I can do those things. So right now, let's go do it. And so I think that is the big thing, is identifying what do you want to do someday and see if you can make it a reality today instead. And with the internet, there really are so many more options now for remote work, remote school. I mean, all the things that back in the day you would not have thought possible. And even when I talk to people now, they're like, oh, I never even thought that I could do that, because like Brandon said, their kids are in school, they're doing activities, they've never considered anything else. So yeah, I would say identify your dreams and then figure out how to make them happen. In our case, we ask the kids all the time, where do you want to go? That's why I know. Thank you, Aaron, saying preach. That's like an amen. I know that my son wants to go to Italy because I've asked him, where do you want to go? Where are all the places? And I'm like, if you could go anywhere in the world, and the more we've traveled, the more places we want to go. And I think Brandon and I have seen in travel we've done as a couple and then travel with our kids, the places you don't expect to be really cool oftentimes are. And so now there's really no place off limits, because I think I've had the most fun in places I didn't even know I wanted to go. So yeah, I would say figure out what that is and go for it.
Yeah, and to kind of wrap that piece of it up, right? It's, again, if you are to the point to where you say, I want to full-time RV, but don't necessarily.
But important.
Well, exactly. And maybe it's just one thing, and figure out if we can work through that for a short period of time, if we can do that for 6 months, if we can do that for a week, if we can do that for 2 weeks, if we can do that for, try to figure out what that time frame is. I would love to boondock all the time, but they need showers, right?
And do laundry. And I like to cook, which generates dishes.
So we know what our limit is. We know what our family limit is, because we've done it, right? We've got about a week of boondocking that we can do. We can do a little bit more if we're pushing it, but that's where we know our limit is. So try to figure out what your limit is. Full time is a bit of a gray thing too, right? We're clearly in our house right now, but we do consider ourselves full-timers because
we definitely were last year. We rented the house out, so we didn't have access to our house. We're planning to hit the road again in the fall. At least for a few months, we're very open to renting the house out again. So yeah, we're definitely not saying, oh, now we're home, we're done, we did that. We do intend to travel again, but we're very flexible. I mean, it is literally like, hey, you want to do this? Oh, maybe. And then we'll figure out how we're going to make it happen and what we're going to do. So right now we're keeping our house, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to live in it. Our RV is in storage 2 miles away when we're home. So we can grab it and go. And so we do have plans that way already booked for the fall and winter, and we're still trying to figure out what's next after that. Like I mentioned, we want to get to Europe too. So, and then there's other continents and other places I want to go. We'll see what we can get done while our daughter's still home. That is the big thing, is what are we doing with the kids and what are we doing after they're grown? But yes, as long as Braden and I can still move and do the things we want to do, we will. And that's why we named our channel Life Lived Now. We're not waiting for whenever we retire or whenever we do a certain thing. We're just jumping in, grabbing life, and we're enjoying every moment now. We're making the most of it while we have air in our lungs, because none of us are promised tomorrow, even if we still think we have many, many years left. So just be aware of that, but figure out what you want to do and then make it happen. Because if you're not making it happen, you're making a choice, even if you don't realize it. And I think that was something we learned through this whole process, is doing nothing is still a choice as well. So why would we do nothing if we could go do something really cool?
Totally.
So you ready to give away our backup camera? Our old backup camera?
Are you all ready?
Are you ready? Yes. For all of you who have entered and followed and all of that, thank you so much for joining us. And for those of you who have come from other channels and followed us because someone else told you to follow us, thank you. We're so glad that you're here, that you've looked at our product reviews, and we really do want to be helpful. And I think our story, because we have kids with us and we're not retired, is kind of unique in the RV world. But we have an awesome backup camera that we are going to be giving away. You can watch, Brandon did a whole review on it.
I did a review on this, and then
our upgrade.
And then Haloview sent us the newer version, which is a touchscreen. So I just cleaned the screen off. I'll clean it again before we ship it out. It's got some smudges on it.
This one still works excellent. We were
Yep.
loving it. Our old trailer did not have a backup camera, so that involved a lot of me screaming at Brandon and large arm movements when he was trying to back in. And now it's so much easier for him to see right where to go, where to back up. He can really do it on his own.
Yeah.
I just stand there as a backup for that.
And this works as a, so at the top here, you can put in a memory card as well. So it'll work as a backup camera. It'll work as a, dash cam, kind of. I mean, it's for the rear, right? Which is the spot you can't see anyway, but works as like a backup
But you can
camera,
record, can't
backup
you?
camera, dash cam, all that stuff. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
record on it. So just put a micro SD card in there. But we'll send you all the cables and stuff that you need. It'll confirmed it'll hook up directly to the existing wiring if it's like a Furrion or something like that. That's what we had. We had a Furrion and then just plugged it right in. So I'll send you all the cables that you need for it. It may come in the BT7 Touch box because I don't think I have this box anymore for it. So, but it'll be packaged so it doesn't get damaged in transit.
Well, and for somebody who's watching that says, I have the Furrion hookups, is it hard to install? You know, you're very mechanically inclined, but for our friends watching who are not, would you still say it's going to be very easy and things for them to install it themselves? And why do we like it over like a Furrion or whatever comes on your rig?
So let me start with the second question. I like it more than the Furrion because the camera itself is a higher quality camera. I mean, we could see really clear detail on the monitor that we wouldn't have been able to see on the Furrion. I've seen a lot of reviews on the Furrion. The Furrion's like a 480, maybe a 720. This one broadcasts in 1080. So I mean, for those of you that have seen the older, I'm sure we don't have any young folks on here that know even what 480 or 720 is, but the 1080 is, I mean, clear, it's clear except for 4K, but that's not really a broadcast signal. So this is about as best as you can get with the radio signals. That's the reason why I like this, and it was super responsive too. So anytime we would turn it on, or I had Sunny stand back there and wave at me, but we were talking at the same time. So I knew when she was doing what she was doing because I was talking to her through the phone, and I said wave, and she'd go, I'm waving, and I could see her mouth move and hear her at the same. The lag was very, very short. So those are the big pros to that. As far as installation goes, it's pretty simple. It's a plug and play device. The only caveat is I didn't have a ladder tall enough to reach where the actual, you have to switch out the camera too. That's on the back, which you'll get that. But you have to switch that out as well. And you have to pull the old one off, plug the new one in, and then screw it up. I didn't have a ladder, so I had to do it from the top of the roof and sort of overhang. Not the safest thing. It wasn't really super dangerous because a lot of my weight's back there anyway. So I was able to kind of anchor myself down on the roof. But if you're not able to get and work on your roof a whole lot, it's going to be a little bit of a difficult install unless you have a ladder to reach back there. So,
but overall, simple to use. Don't just go with what's stock on your RV. A lot of times that stuff is expensive and doesn't work super well. And so do some research, find other options. That's what we did with Haloview, and we've been very impressed. And relatively simple, like Brandon said, if you can reach it. If you're somebody that's always in that RV park cleaning the roof of your rig anyway, you'll be fine, even if you don't have a ladder.
Yeah.
But yeah, and we have a video on the install, so you can watch that if you are confused. So we've got everybody in the random wheel of names, and so I'm going to click on this to spin it. If you're watching us live, let us know in the comments. If not, we will reach out to you based on your username. Did you already shuffle these?
I shuffled them.
Okay,
Yep.
so they're already shuffled, so I'm going to go for it.
Let's see
And
who
it's
it
spinning.
is.
It's like Wheel of Fortune. I love this thing. Let's see. All right. Do you want to announce it or do you want me to?
I can do it.
Okay.
Melissa M. McLaughlin 5161 is the winner.
Yes. So, Melissa, if you're watching, let us know. You just won the backup camera. And if you're not watching live and you watch us later, let us know in the comments. But we will reach out to you based on your username. Thank you so much for entering and watching the video. We're excited for you.
I'm going to respond to Melissa on the YouTube link, the original one. So I'll respond back to that. If we don't hear back from Melissa in a week, we'll go ahead and
We'll
respin.
do another one.
So we'll give her a week. I assume it's her. Sorry. So yeah, we'll give Melissa a week to respond. If we don't hear from her in a week, we'll respin. But thank you everyone for
joining us.
Joining this live. Thank you for subscribing and commenting and watching our videos throughout the year. We're almost at 600, so that's exciting. We've got a ton more content. I've got a bunch of stuff to do. As Sunny said, there's projects around the house that I'm working on that are really taking my time from really getting into the editing portion.
We have videos from 4 months ago.
I have a lot of
So
stuff
in the move into the house, we misplaced a hard drive. So once we find that, we will get some more travel videos going as well. We have backups, but a lot of the best footage is on that hard drive. So we need to locate that. But then we will definitely have more travel videos. Brandon's going to do some more reviews on some things we found on the road that we really enjoy and for editing and filmmaking. You're also going to start to see more drone footage because he did earn his drone back in April. So we'll get some of that up there as well. And like I said,
you saw some of my drone footage on the Starlink video.
Oh yes, you did see some of it on the Starlink video. If you're interested in Starlink, we absolutely love that. That's another product we would recommend, so go watch that one. But yes, you will start to see more of that footage hopefully soon. And like we said, we're hitting the road again in a few months, so we'll have a lot of new footage. So we're going to keep the channel going. Like I said, we really are living life now. We don't know what our plans are past December. That is our last travel reservation, and beyond that, we're kind of seeing what happens. And so, yeah, we will definitely have exciting announcements and news as we go, and we will keep that going on the channel.
And we're still traveling while we're here for the summer, right?
Yes.
We've already been to a few locations. You've seen some of the videos.
I've gone on a business trip. Brandon's got some schedule. Yeah, so we've got all sorts of stuff happening.
Yep. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us, and you're very welcome, Aaron. I'm glad you guys could join us. We're excited to see you on the road again soon, and Christine and Maya, your whole family. And then, yeah, we will see you guys. I guess our next real video is coming out on Sunday.
Yep.
So we'll see you then.
Thanks, guys.